Good evening, I'm your host Adam, coming to you from an undisclosed location, and this is Anything Strange. Sit back, relax, and most importantly, open your minds. Today we dive into case number 0009, the Grim Reaper. The Grim Reaper, the Angel of Death, has become well known as a pale man or skeleton in a black hooded outfit holding a scythe. He has become the figure known to show up right before you die, or even be the one to kill you. The origin of the Grim Reaper is much different than what you see in movies or on television.
You might be a king or a little street sweeper, but sooner or later you dance with the Reaper.
The cloaked man with the scythe was actually reported being seen during the Black Plague, right before towns would become infected and death would follow. To tell the whole story, you need to know what history says about the Black Plague, one of the deadliest pandemics in human history. The plague hit Europe between 1346 and 1353, and in this short time, between 70 and 200 million people were killed. What we have been told was the plague came from rats infested with fleas, carrying several types of the bubonic plague. But recent science has proven this is simply not true. Rats biting people would not spread the plague as fast as it did, and isolated towns would have never become infected. What hit Europe was not a bubonic plague, but a pneumonic plague, which means it had to have spread from person to person from coughs and sneezes. And although this theory is much more plausible, there are still a few things that puzzle scientists today, like how the plague hit isolated towns, how a pneumonic plague was started in warm summers when a pneumonic plague can only be found in cold, crowded environments. And the biggest mystery is how the plague stopped abruptly. So where does this story turn supernatural or strange? Well, reports always started with a mysterious sighting in the sky that people at the time thought was an omen for the Black Plague. But maybe these objects in the sky had something on board. In some instances, the sightings were reported only minutes before the plague would hit a town, and that's when the Grim Reaper would show up. In many different locations, the Black Plague was reported to start the exact same way. A strange object in the sky, followed by figures of men in black hooded cloaks holding weapons from swords to scythes. They would wave their scythes so loud a swish could be heard across the town. Shortly after, people would smell a weird mist and a fog would take over. After that, the outbreak would begin. These reports were the same across Europe, and the black men who looked like they could be skeletons or demons, or maybe even extraterrestrials, were always associated with the Black Plague and death. So does this mean the Black Plague was started from some strange men waving a poison into the towns they chose? Were they evil spirits or extraterrestrials? These are the strange coincidences you're not told in school, but whether you want to believe them or not, they are what created the image we know today as the Grim Reaper. Alright guys, thanks for watching, and if you want to see more strange stories, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment on this video. As always, we encourage you to do your own research if you enjoyed this topic. A lot of my sources came from the book, The Gods of Eden, which I will link in the description below, check it out. And we're also working on a new website, so head on over to anythingstrange.com, and until next time, I'm Adam, bringing you stories about anything strange.